the heart of Cleveland, the city's streets echoed with explosions, creating a symphony of fear and chaos. Amidst the deafening roars of detonations, one man dared to challenge the shadows of the Mafia. His name was Danny Greene, a towering Irish brawler with a Celtic cross tattooed across his chest. He stood alone against the power of La Cosa Nostra, igniting a war that would shake the very foundations of the Rust Belt. Bombs ripped through the night sky, revealing the brutal reality of Greene's guerrilla warfare. Bodies would vanish into Lake Erie as alliances shattered like fragile shrapnel in the wind. This story is about the man known as the Mad Butcher, the Irish Godfather, a dockside enforcer turned folk hero. His crusade against the Mafia was fueled by a fiery desire for justice, or perhaps revenge. But the question that still haunts Cleveland's graveyards is, who really flipped the switch on the car bomb that vaporized Greene? Was it a betrayed ally seeking payback, or the cold hand of the syndicate he vowed to destroy? The explosion on October 6, 1977 turned Greene's life into a blazing fireball, ending his violent crusade. Buckle up, because this isn't just mob history, it's a powder keg with a lit fuse. Let's go back to where it all began, on the gritty streets of Collinwood in the 1940s. Young Danny Greene was a scrawny orphan, dodging the chill winds off Lake Erie in Cleveland's gritty neighborhood. Daniel John Patrick Greene was born on November 14, 1933, to Irish immigrant parents. He lost his mother before he was 6 months old and his father to the bottle shortly after. Raised by a colorful aunt who ran a boarding house for sailors, Danny learned early that survival meant fists first. Questions were secondary to getting by in those days, and fists often spoke louder than words. By his teens, he was boxing in smoky gyms, his green eyes blazing with the fire of his Irish roots. A stint in the Navy polished his swagger, but it was the docks that forged his steel character. In the 1950s, Cleveland's waterfront was a haven for racketeers, longshoremen loading steel and ore for the mills. But bleeding kickbacks flowed steadily to the mob that controlled it all. Greene started as a stevedore, his massive frame heaving crates with brute strength and relentless energy. He had charisma, kind that could command respect or ignite fear in equal measure. By 1961, at just 28 years old, he muscled his way to the presidency of the Cleveland Solid Waste Haulers Local. He then leaped into the ranks of the International Longshoremen's Association, expanding his influence. But Greene's ambitions went far beyond union dues and dispatch sheets. He was building an empire. Loan sharking at 10% interest per week, gambling dens humming with poker and horses, he was a man of many crimes. He squeezed contractors for union fees, turning the Teamsters into his personal ATM machine. Whispers called him the Irishman, a nod to his emerald ring and the harp-embossed business cards he flaunted like a king's crown. His ascent peaked in the early 1970s when he seized control of Teamsters Local 417, a powerful union representing 800 workers. Greene's playbook was brutal efficiency. Cross him, and your trucks would be accidentally torched or tires slashed by his crew of ex-cons and Irish toughs. He posed for photos in a leather jacket, Viking helmet on his head, grinning like a leprechaun who'd robbed the rainbow. To Cleveland's blue-collar Irish, he appeared as a Robin Hood-like figure, sticking it to the bosses. To the feds, he was a ticking time bomb of corruption ready to explode. And to the Italian syndicate that long puppeteered the unions, he was nothing but a pest nibbling at their feast. But Greene's real genius was his code. Never bend to the wops, he believed. He inked deals with Jewish and Irish independents, carving out a West Side fiefdom. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Mafia, under the aging Don John T. Scalish, fumed from their Little Italy strongholds. It was a simmering feud, bubbling just beneath the surface until Scalish's sudden death in 1976 cracked it wide open. Then came the Licavoli crew, James Jack White, Licavoli, a silver-haired sadist with a notorious crime record that stretched from Detroit to Vegas. His underboss, Angelo Big Ange Lonardo, saw Greene as the next target, an upstart who threatened their domination. They believed Greene was prey, not a partner, a dangerous mistake that would prove costly. Greene responded with daring attacks, bombing their interests and boldly challenging their authority. His war with the Mafia escalated into a series of 36 blasts, leaving destruction in his wake. He became a figure both feared and admired, a symbol of defiance against the mob's grip on Cleveland. His methods weren't subtle. Car bombs, shootings, and calculated intimidation kept his enemies on edge. Greene's bombings turned the city into a firefight zone, with each explosion adding fuel to his legendary status. But his relentless crusade also earned him powerful enemies who wanted him silenced forever. Those enemies orchestrated a relentless campaign to take him down, one that ultimately led to his fiery demise. The night he was vaporized in a fireball, the streets of Collinwood fell eerily silent. No one knew for sure who pulled the trigger, whether it was a betrayed ally or the syndicate itself. Theories range from retaliation by the Mafia to a rogue faction seeking to claim Greene's territory. Some believed the ghost of a betrayed friend had flipped the switch in an act of vengeance. Others whispered that the syndicate had finally ended his reign of terror once and for all. Whatever the truth, Greene's legacy remains etched into Cleveland's history, an Irish legend forever carved in fire and fury. Bombs over the Cuyahoga, the Irish uprising ignites. Halfway through this tale of treachery, if you're hooked on the scent of gunpowder and betrayal, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're just warming up the detonators here on the channel. More deep dives into the underworld await, from prohibition ghosts to modern kingpins. Now back to the blaze. The war didn't erupt with a bang, it whispered with a grudge. In 1975, Greene's ambitions collided head-on with the mob's greed. He'd allied with John Nardi, a Teamster heavyweight and Scalish loyalist, to muscle into garbage hauling, a $100 million racket the Italians had cornered. Nardi, a chain-smoking schemer with a pencil-thin mustache, dreamed of a melting pot syndicate. Irish, Italian, Jew, united against the old guard. Greene, he saw it as his throne. Together they launched Irish-American Steel Eruption, a front that siphoned union jobs and extorted rivals. The Licavoli faction struck first, and oh, what a strike. On a foggy March morning in 1975, Greene pulled into his driveway on West 25th Street after a late-night card game. As he stepped from his Lincoln Continental, a dynamite-rigged bomb, planted under the chassis by mob hitman Edward Big Eddie Lavender, erupted in a thunderclap of fire and twisted metal. The blast shredded the car, hurled debris 50 feet, and incinerated two of Danny's prized Siamese cats lounging in the garage. Miraculously, Greene escaped with singed eyebrows and a gash on his arm. He'd spotted the wires seconds before and leaped clear. "Those bastards almost got me," he growled to reporters, flashing that defiant grin. But inside, the fury boiled. Who wired it? Fingers pointed to Shondor Birns, a flashy Jewish bookmaker and Licavoli ally who'd clashed with Greene over a $25,000 loan shark debt. Months later, on Easter Sunday 1975, Birns met his end in a West 25th bar. A car bomb reduced his Lincoln to a smoldering crater, killing him instantly. Danny's crew, they never denied the poetry. From there, Cleveland became Bomb City. USA 1976 alone saw 36 explosions, more than all of 1975 nationwide. Greene's clashes with the Licavoli crew were a symphony of savagery. In May, a bomb meant for Greene's enforcer Keith Ritson misfired, leveling a dentist's office instead. Retaliation? Greene's boys wired Dominic Fat Dom Visicari's Cadillac. The blast left him maimed, screaming from the pavement. Nardi's warehouse, torched. Licavoli's lieutenants? Vanished. Rumors swirled of bodies dumped in the Cuyahoga, weighted with chains. Greene, ever the showman, taunted his foes in the press. "I'm not going to hurt him. I'm going to eliminate him." He even hired a bodyguard crew called the Celtic Club, armed with Uzi submachine guns smuggled from Ireland. The mob hit back viciously. In March 1977, a sniper's bullet grazed Greene outside a Collinwood bar, traced to hitman Frank Bolo Davashaw, a Licavoli gun for hire. Then the gut punch. On May 20th, Nardi climbed into his Lincoln at a Teamster parking lot. Boom. The car bomb, 10 sticks of dynamite, remote detonated, tore him apart, scattering limbs across the asphalt. Greene mourned publicly, vowing, "This war's just begun," but cracks showed. Informants whispered that Danny was leaking to the FBI, trading mob secrets for protection in a desperate bid to survive. The final fuse, betrayal, blasts, and the shadowy trigger man. By summer 1977, Cleveland's skyline trembled. Bars emptied at dusk, cops patrolled with bomb-sniffing dogs, and the plain dealer screamed headlines. Mafia mayhem. Greene, holed up in a bulletproof vest and rotating safe houses, plotted his endgame. He'd muscled into vending machines, jukeboxes, anything the Italians touched. But Licavoli, from his Tucson exile, greenlit the kill. $25,000 bounty on the Irishman. The contract? Ray the Butcher Ferritto, a Cleveland-born killer with a toupee and a grudge, fresh from Pittsburgh's rackets. October 6th dawned crisp. Greene, nursing a toothache, parked his 1975 Oldsmobile outside a dental clinic on St. Clair Avenue. He stepped out, emerald ring glinting, and walked 20 feet toward the door. In a phone booth across the street, Ferritto, disguised in a brown suit, dialed the trigger. The blast was apocalyptic. 12 sticks of dynamite shredded the olds, hurling Greene's headless torso 200 feet into a nearby store, his legs pinwheeling through plate glass. Fireballs scorched the sky. Witnesses dove for cover as shrapnel rained like hellfire. Danny Greene, 43, was gone, vaporized in an instant, his war cry silenced. But the mystery endures. Who really pulled that trigger? Ferritto confessed years later, flipping for the feds in a plea that toppled Licavoli and Lonardo. Yet whispers persist. Was it a rogue Nardi loyalist, avenging the betrayal? Or a deeper syndicate plot, tying back to Greene's union scams that starved the mob's Vegas pipelines? The feds closed the book, but Cleveland's ghosts don't rest. Greene's death didn't end the syndicate, it gutted it. Licavoli drew 20 years. The Cleveland family splintered, fading into irrelevance by the 80s. Danny, the Mad Butcher, became legend, a Viking who raided the Mafia's Valhalla and burned it down. For a chilling prelude to this bloodbath, check our vid on the Torso murders, the 1930s Kingsbury Run decapitations that terrorized the same streets, unsolved to this day. Elliot Ness chased shadows then. Greene was the shadow. So who do you think flipped the switch? Drop your theories below. Smash subscribe for more tales from the dark side. Next up, the Black Hand's curse on Youngstown. The fuse is lit. Don't miss the boom.